As books 21 and 22 unfold, we are now ready for this showdown at the OK Corral. Basically, everything has been building up to this point. And with book 21, all of the aspects of Penelope's challenge are laid out. She retrieves Odysseus's bow, and the challenge is that whoever can string the bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe handles wins her hand in marriage. And this is something that nobody has ever seen done before. So it is going to be an extremely difficult feat. And not just shooting the arrow through all of the holes of the axe handles, but the actual act of stringing the bow is something that is extremely difficult in itself. And only Odysseus is the one that knows how to do it, and Penelope as well. And she was going to show Telemachus how to do it if his father did not return to do it first. Telemachus offers to go first in an effort to try to free his mother. He does not want to win her hand in marriage, of course, but in his mind, if he does win, then she will basically be his property, be stuck with him, and not have to go off and be subject to one of the suitors. And it's not one of the main most important points is that the suitors do not want to marry Penelope because they are absolutely head over heels in love with her. They are desiring to be with her because of what she represents, and that is the kingdom of Ithaca, Odysseus's Ithaca, and all of the power and wealth that would accompany that. So that is why they are all vying for this position, not necessarily for her and their love for her. However, as Telemachus offers Odysseus basically under the table, because remember he is still disguised as the beggar, convinces him to wait. This is not the time. And it's basically Telemachus, yes, could probably do it. If anybody could, besides Odysseus, it would be him. But Odysseus wants to take all of the victory for himself. And you see here is a picture of how the axes would be laid out. And one would have to string the bow and shoot the arrow through the axe handle holes and go all the way through and hit the target on the other side. Book 21, suitor and suitor attempts and fail over and over and over. Odysseus, as the beggar, finally reveals his true identity, that he is the great Odysseus. Penelope mocks the fear of the suitors, so much so that Telemachus orders his mother out of the room because she is becoming a distraction. And it's basically Penelope could becoming hysterical herself because she does not understand what is unfolding in front of her. Odysseus strings the bow, shoots the arrow, does exactly what he has set out to do. Now, something that is an important theme to look at within these two books here is this: as Telemachus rises to manhood, is it a showdown between father and son? He asserts his authority over the suitors and his mother because he is going to try to get them out of the way, but he's also telling his mother, look, you're out of control, you've got to leave, I want you to go up to your room. And it's basically he is the one that if anybody is, in power under Odysseus, it would be Telemachus. And then the symbol of the bow, whoever strings it is the most powerful and the leader. And the bow represents strength. It represents manhood. So if Telemachus were to string it up, then he would be the one that had power. And Odysseus knows he is still the one that must regain control. And it's not necessarily that he does not want his son to have any type of power or leadership, because it will eventually be handed down to him. But this is something Odysseus has waited 20 years to do. So while Telemachus tries, but it is not his time to reign, Odysseus will, relinquish those the power later, but for right now it is his time. So he nearly succeeds, but Odysseus knows and stops him before it happens. So it is a subtle conflict, but it is just one that can be resolved between this father and son. Here is a picture of what the bow, how it would be unstrung, and then how it would be limp and basically tight or taut as it is strung. And then a funny little just a comic strip that you could that read just depicting what is going on with Penelope laying out the challenge for the suitors. Something else to think about within as we are nearing the end of the poem is the ugly side of war. Homer, even in the Iliad and the Odyssey, does not glorify war. There is a scene after scene of the ugliness that takes place. We saw that with the Iliad, all of the gruesome scenes that take place versus the ugliness of the scene that is about to take place and has taken place with the killing of the suitors. It gets extremely gory, and there's not a real, while in Homer's mind there is point to it because it's a necessary evil, but it is not necessarily something that should be rushed into frivolously. There is also the ugliness in the killing of the unfaithful maid servants. Odysseus really unleashes all of his wrath for this because we're not necessarily going to just take care of the suitors, but we're also going to eradicate the country of those who have been, or the palace of those who have been unfaithful. So, if in supporting this theme of faithfulness versus unfaithfulness, this with and we've discussed Eumaeus and Melanthius, the shepherd or the pig herder, swine herd, and the goat herd rather. They are also can also be compared with the faithful and unfaithful servants. So it has trickled down into every aspect of Odysseus's inside the palace walls and, of course, outside the palace walls as well.